Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, Time is But a Window. With so many leaks coming in the past few months, we know that Source 2 is on its way to Counter-Strike. As you guys know, at this point, Counter-Strike Global Offensive has been around for 10 years, and the current engine that it's built upon has been around longer than that, releasing with Half-Life 2 and Counter-Strike Source 18 years ago. And even though they have upgraded it thoroughly, no engine can last forever. So with that, here are 10 reasons that everyone is looking forward to having Counter-Strike Global Offensive on the Source 2 engine. Reason number 1, better graphics. So what kind of visual improvements can we expect to see from Counter-Strike moving over to the Source 2 engine? While the Source 2 engine doesn't quite hit at the same level as the Unreal 5 engine, it's still a massive upgrade from the original Source engine. To see just how big of an upgrade, all you have to do is compare Half-Life 2 to Half-Life Alyx. On top of that, it's already been reported that the game will be using ray tracing, which can definitely bring up the realism to the next level. Of course, this makes people worry about how well the game will perform, which brings us to the next segment of this video. Source 2 will have more optimized performance and more stable frame rates. So generally, games with better graphics have lower frame rates, which can cause less stable performance. But unlike in usual cases, people don't realize how unoptimized the Source engine actually is. Keep in mind, this is one of the first game engines to really incorporate a real-time physics engine. Meanwhile, the Source 2 engine has been optimized from the ground up. This means not only are the frame rates going to be higher while maintaining the same or better visual fidelity, the frame rates are also going to be far more consistent. And that's going to be a big deal. Keep in mind, the frame rates were never very consistent on the Source engine due to its physics system. And while it has been updated significantly over the last 19 years, just from these physics videos you can see that the Source 2 engine technology has come a long way. Expect more stable frame rates and the ability to run it on similarly low-spec machines as you can in CSGO, which is partially due to the next segment of this video, lower, more consistent input latency. Now, thanks to NVIDIA, input latency has become a hot topic in the last few years. Luckily, the Source 2 engine is a far more optimized engine, and it's said that it may actually be using reflex low latency mode. The Source 2 engine is going to bring CS more in line with other competitive shooters such as Valorant, dropping the input latency from 21 milliseconds down to 7. Of course, that's just an approximation given your computer and what settings you're using. What can be said is it's going to be far more responsive using current technologies. Meanwhile, the current Source engine has massive spikes to the input latency during high stress. The Source 2 engine has been created to handle multiple events much more fluidly. This will create more stable input latency times, especially in situations where a nade goes off, causing several physics props to move simultaneously. Here is a really good example of this. In Counter-Strike Source, because it does lag right before the physics go off, you can see the enemy flies a billion miles away, whereas in Source 2, when they blow up, they die accurately. Alright, so the engine is definitely going to be a massive upgrade from the original Source engine, but what else can we expect? New maps. We all know Valorant has taken a big chunk of the player base from CSGO, and Valve is looking to get some of it back. With the release of the Source 2 engine, they really want to make the game feel fresh and new again. They will be doing a full rebranding of the game, changing the name from Counter-Strike Global Offensive to Counter-Strike. To add a level of freshness, they'll be adding some new maps. They will probably add a few maps that we haven't heard of before, but also expect to see some old favorites like Tuscan and Kabul. As for other maps, we'll be getting full map redesigns. Expect to see a new version of all the most popular maps. Whether it's Mirage or Dust 2, everything needs to be rebuilt from the ground up to take advantage of Source 2. Number 6, increased value of skins. Now here's the good news for those skin and sticker owners out there. All skins and stickers will be ported over to Source 2. While porting all of these over might take even more time than just building the entire game itself, it has been leaked in the past that they have been porting them over to Source 2. And why wouldn't they? After all, this is how Valve makes the majority of their revenue. This means that your skins will continue to increase in value, so don't worry about trying to sell them all off before the release. On top of that, expect to see a massive new amount of skins added to the game upon the release of Source 2. Number 7, we're going to be able to see some new talent in the pro leagues. One thing about Counter-Strike is that it's always very difficult for new players to reach the top. With the rebranding of Counter-Strike Global Offensive to Counter-Strike on the new Source 2 engine, a lot of things will play differently. So if you ever wanted to go pro and felt locked out because top teams like to recycle the same players, this might be your opportunity to strike. Counter-Strike Source 2 will be changing some dynamics in subtle ways. With subtle changes to the movement and the physics, even pros will be forced to relearn the game. This is a good thing for newer talent as it gives them an opportunity to push to the top. I recommend if you ever had a dream of going pro to begin grinding it hard from the moment it's released. Number 8, a resurgence in player base. As we all know, since the release of Valorant, the numbers of Counter-Strike Global Offensive have died down significantly. Valve isn't blind to this, and it's one of the main reasons for not only rebranding the game, but also renaming the teams to be more advertiser friendly. Instead of Counter-Terrorist and Terrorist, the teams will now be called CT and T, and the game itself will be called Counter-Strike, not Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Valve is going to be making a push to make Counter-Strike more mainstream and increase its player numbers, or as they like to call them, their customers. If the numbers grow near projected levels, this game will see a massive increase in tournaments, sponsorships, and prize money. Which brings me back to the prior point, if you ever wanted to go pro, this will be your best opportunity. And finally, in at the 10 spot, and possibly one of the most important aspects, we are going to see significantly less cheaters upon release. This is because cheaters are going to have to rebuild from the ground up for the Source 2 engine, which means initially there will be very few cheaters. And anyone who's played on North American servers knows how skewed the ranks have become from all the mass cheating. Basically, the majority of our silvers and gold novas are ranked 10 in FACEIT, so figure that one out. With the Source engine being around for 18 years and Counter-Strike Global Offensive being around for 10 years, cheaters have gotten quite accustomed to making new cheats for it. Hopefully them relearning to code for Source 2 gives Valve enough time to come up with a decent anti-cheat system. The good news is it doesn't look like Valve has given up on VAC yet. As you can see here, there have been some bigger VAC waves than usual and a lot more activity. I wonder if this has anything to do with the possible operation coming out or maybe even Source 2. While we're on the topic, I feel like there are so many ways that Valve could improve the Overwatch system for Source 2, though there has been no talk about bringing Overwatch over to Source 2. With the new engine and less cheaters, matchmaking ranks should return to normal before cheaters flood the system again. I look forward to getting my global back, or at least Supreme. Anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and are looking forward to Counter-Strike Global Offensive on Source 2 as much as I am. And while I don't think it'll be coming out in August, it shouldn't be much longer than that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell.